What if I told you that one of the most famous seas on Earth could eventually disappear? The Mediterranean Sea separates Europe from Africa. It touches more than 20 countries. Millions of people live along its coastline. Civilizations have depended on it for thousands of years. But on Earth's geological clock, the Mediterranean is temporary. Right now, Africa is slowly moving toward Eurasia, and over tens of millions of years, that movement could completely transform this part of the planet. The Mediterranean Sea we know today could shrink dramatically, and in some possible futures, large parts of it could eventually disappear. But to understand why, we have to go back millions of years. Earth's surface is divided into enormous tectonic plates. These plates move only a few centimeters each year. That sounds insignificant. But over millions of years, continents can cross enormous distances. The African plate has generally been moving northward relative to Eurasia, and between them lies the Mediterranean. This region is geologically complicated. Different smaller plates and crustal blocks are interacting. Some areas are colliding. In others, oceanic crust is being pushed beneath neighboring plates through a process called subduction. This slow-motion collision has already helped create some of Europe's most dramatic landscapes. The Alps, the Apennines, and other mountain systems around the Mediterranean are connected to the long history of tectonic interaction between Africa and Eurasia. The same tectonic environment also contributes to powerful earthquakes and volcanoes across the region. Italy's Mount Etna, Mount Vesuvius, the volcanic islands of Greece, earthquakes around Greece, Turkey, and surrounding regions. The Mediterranean may look peaceful from the surface, but underneath it is an incredibly active geological world. And here's where things become fascinating. The Mediterranean has nearly disappeared before. Around 6 million years ago, something extraordinary happened. The connection between the Atlantic Ocean and Mediterranean became severely restricted. At the same time, evaporation continued removing huge quantities of water. The Mediterranean's water level fell dramatically. Enormous quantities of salt accumulated across the basin. Scientists call this event the Messinian Salinity Crisis. Imagine parts of today's Mediterranean transformed into enormous salt-covered basins, with water levels far below the modern ocean. Then, around 5.33 million years ago, Atlantic water returned through the region of the Strait of Gibraltar. The Mediterranean refilled. The sea survived, but Earth's tectonic plates never stopped moving. Today, the Strait of Gibraltar is the Mediterranean's crucial connection to the Atlantic. Water from the Atlantic enters through this narrow gateway, helping compensate for the Mediterranean's strong evaporation. Now imagine the distant future. Africa continues moving relative to Eurasia. The geography around the Mediterranean keeps changing. Mountain ranges rise, plate boundaries reorganize, parts of the basin shrink. And over millions of years, the Mediterranean could become dramatically different from the sea shown on today's maps. Some geological scenarios envision continued continental convergence, eventually closing major parts of the basin. If connections to the Atlantic were ever cut off again while evaporation remained strong, the consequences could be enormous. Water levels could fall, coastlines could retreat, salt deposits could expand. Regions currently beneath the sea could eventually become exposed. But this does not mean scientists know the Mediterranean will completely vanish on a particular date. Plate tectonics becomes increasingly difficult to predict tens of millions of years into the future. Africa isn't simply moving straight toward Europe like two cars about to crash. The region contains complicated subduction zones, microplates, and changing plate boundaries. Different models can produce different future maps. But the bigger geological story is clear. The Mediterranean exists because of a constantly changing relationship between continents and oceans, and eventually, that relationship will change again. Imagine Earth 50 million years from now. Italy may no longer resemble the boot-shaped peninsula we recognize today. Mountain systems could occupy regions that are currently underwater. Africa and Europe could be much more tightly connected, and the Mediterranean could be smaller, fragmented, or transformed into something completely different. And if you think that's impossible, remember what happened to another ancient ocean? Long before the modern Mediterranean existed, a vast body of water called the Tethys Ocean separated major ancient land masses. As Africa, Arabia, and India moved northward, much of that ocean was gradually destroyed. Fragments of its geological history remain today. The Mediterranean itself is part of that much larger tectonic story. That's one of the strangest things about Earth. We name oceans and seas as though they're permanent, but they're not. Oceans are born, they expand, they shrink, and sometimes they disappear. The Atlantic is currently growing along the mid-Atlantic ridge. Much of the Pacific is being consumed around subduction zones. And the Mediterranean sits within a complex collision zone between major land masses. Humans see a world map and think we're looking at Earth. But we're really looking at just one moment in Earth's history, millions of years from now. The coastlines will change, the continents will move, new mountains will rise, and one of the most famous seas in human history may no longer look anything like the Mediterranean we know today.